I've always loved movies, to the point where I can mark certain points of my life based on something I'd seen on TV. I am from a very small settlement with very few people, so going to the cinema wasn't really a thing. So whenever there was some big blockbuster about to be released, I knew I would have to wait about 8 to 12 months before I can see it. So this led me to watching whatever was available on network television at the time. I've watched all the Lethal Weapon movies like a million times, Jag, if you remember that show, Nash Bridges, Walker Texas Ranger, just to name a few. As a kid, I wasn't really into too many cartoons. I mean, there were a few, but I mainly watched BET, MTV, VH1, TNT, TBS, USA, and last but not least, IFC, the Independent Film Channel. And this is where my love for film began, and the freedom of doing it independently. I've always found it strange how movies depict death, especially if it's sudden. You know, it's a phone call, then the news break, then the silence, followed with tears, and then an emotional breakdown. I never got that. Most of us won't be able to say goodbye to a loved one before they go. And that hurts. I never got a phone call when it was my time to hear the news. I got a knock on my bedroom door at 4 a.m. You can never know how you will react hearing that your little brother had been shot and killed until you actually have to. I was the very last person he spoke to that night, and the shame of not getting out of bed to do something is something I will have to live with for the rest of my life. You battle with the question, what if, a lot. What if I had done this? What if I had done that? What would happen if? And honestly, that's a demon I have been fighting since March 12, 2021. But how do movies fit into all of this? Films are the perfect medium for escapism and realism. On one hand, you have the Avengers saving the day, but on the other hand, you have a film like Fruitvale Station that gets a bit too real at certain points. Movies are helping me get through whatever it is that I'm feeling, slowly, but it's bittersweet. In some movies, the family gets to say goodbye to a loved one, gathered around the bedside. Some of us will not be afforded that luxury. So in real life, the fear of not saying goodbye is crippling. It leaves you with the thought, maybe if I had done what I was supposed to do, the feeling would not be there. But I'm guilty of that. You can imagine the disgust I had with myself when I realized that my little brother and I had absolutely no pictures together. Mainly because I am a bit of a recluse and I always thought that there was always going to be another time, there's always going to be another event, or as my friends would put it, don't die, we need you for the sequel. Movies show me that although we grieve differently, we all go through it together. Maybe not all at once, but there's something about pain that can knock you down and remind you that you're human. Love while you're here. Give folks their flowers. It's like the short story I remember hearing a while back about a mother who lost her son, and at the funeral, there were flowers everywhere. The mother showed up and placed a bucket of chicken on the casket and then sat down. The pastor was confused but continued the service anyway. After which, the pastor approached the mother and asked her why she placed the chicken on the casket. And she replied saying, "If my son could smell all of these flowers that people brought after he died, then I am certain he can smell the chicken." It's a little funny, but it relates. I've always loved movies, to the point where I can mark certain points in my life based on something I'd seen on TV. And what do I have to mark this dramatic event? I'll tell you in another video. So embrace the moments in 4K. Pause the best ones. Don't skip the boring ones. Do not fast forward and do not blink. You might miss something, because because there is no rewind button. And if you do all of these things, the fear of not saying goodbye is one less thing to worry about. Thank you all for watching.